This is Jarrod Horak, and in this video, I'm going to analyze the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby at Santa Anita Park, Saturday, April 6th. It's a Kentucky Derby 2024 points race, and speaking of the Derby, if you go over to todaysracingdigest.com on their Kentucky Derby page, you'll be able to read all of my Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks reports. Every Monday, I update the Oaks, and every Tuesday, I update the Derby, and then throughout the week, I post other Oaks and Derby related articles at todaysracingdigest.com on their Kentucky Derby page. And while you're over at Today's Racing Digest, if you want to have one free complete digest from now through the end of April, just head on over to their complete digest page. And the complete digest tracks they cover Gulfstream, Keeneland beginning this week, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita. So you can get one free complete digest by using promo code DERBY5424. So in the description in this video, I'll provide a link to that complete digest page and the promo code, and or go over to Today's Racing Digest for more details. And now we'll get into the analysis of this video, and I'm going to be doing the 10th race at Santa Anita Park. Grade 1, $750,000 Santa Anita Derby for 3-year-olds. A mile and an eighth on the main track. Scheduled post time for this 10th race, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And I had 2 winners on the road to the Derby last week, Forever Young in the UAE Derby and Fierceness in the Florida Derby. So let's see if we can get some more winners in this Derby, this week's Derby points races. We have 3 of them: the Santa Anita Derby, the Bluegrass, the Wood Memorial. So let's see if we can get a winner in this Santa Anita Derby. And I have 11 winners overall on this Kentucky Derby 2024 video series. And this race will kick off with Curlin's Kaos from the inside post. This is a Cal-bred gelding. Clubhouse Ride is the sire. And for this one, he's run 5 times, a win, a second, and 2/3. He was 4th last time out, beaten pretty well in that race by more than 8 lengths, and that was in the Grade 3 Sunland Derby. Broke his maiden in a Cal-bred turf route before that. Seems overmatched in here. He'll probably try to save ground behind the speed. Tapalo is next for trainer John Sadler. Umberto Rispoli's going to ride. He's still eligible for an entry-level allowance race. He's had 1 win, 2 seconds, and a third from 5 starts. Does like Santa Anita, ran well both times at Santa Anita, just missing in a maiden route and then breaking his maiden in a maiden optional claiming race at 7 furlongs. And then they ran him in the El Camino Real Derby at Golden Gate Fields. He stalked. He opened up a 2.5 length lead in the stretch. He couldn't hold it. Endlessly won that one, and then endlessly would come back and win the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park. And Tapalo there was able to hold on and finish second. So now back to Santa Anita Park. He's got early pressing speed and an inner post. And a bullet workout as well. Stronghold is number 3 for trainer Phil D'Amato. This is a son of Ghost Zapper. Very consistent. 5 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds. I've always liked him. He's been on my Kentucky Derby list for several weeks. And Antonio Fresu was going to ride back. He was aboard in his last 3 starts. His last 3 starts were all in the stakes ranks. The Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes. Nisos ran away with that one. Stronghold was clearly second best. And then in his next stakes appearance was in the Grade 2 Los Al Futurity, and Wynstock was able to wire the field. And Stronghold got close. He actually did get a very short lead. Then Wynstock battled back, and he missed by a half length there. And then in his last start, he broke through with a stakes victory. That was the Grade 3 Sunland Derby. He was my top choice there. He pressed the pace. He opened up a length and a half in the stretch, and then he won by 2.5 lengths. A good, solid effort there. I think he can sit a decent tactical trip in here. Probably the one to beat. Imagination is next for trainer Bob Baffert. Frankie Dettori is going to ride this $1.05 million Into Mischief colt. And for him, he's run 5 times with 2 wins in 3 seconds. He was second in his first 2 starts, 6 furlongs and then a mile. They were both at Del Mar. So then he came to Santa Anita and he broke his maiden going wire to wire in a 1-mile race. And then in his next start, first start against winners, he was second by a neck. Maymoon, his stablemate, set the pace. Imagination was able to get past him. Maymoon came back, and it was more than 10 lengths back to the show finisher. And then Imagination picked up a stakes victory in the Grade 2 San Felipe last time out. He chased from second, and he was just able to outfinish his stablemate, Wind Me Up, in a long battle there. And he won that one by a head. A good effort in that race. It was only a 4-horse field, and look for him to be probably stalking or pressing the pace. Wynstock should be forwardly placed. Bob Baffert, Juan Hernandez, a good jockey trainer team. 5 starts, 2 wins. He has no seconds and no thirds. He's been an all-or-nothing type. Back-to-back sprint races to begin his career. He was the beaten favorite, really wasn't a threat there. It looked like he really wanted to go around 2 turns based on his maiden win in his next start by more than 7 lengths. And then he upset the Los Al Futurity. He was 13-1. He was 13-1 in his maiden race. They were both dirt routes. 1 mile in the maiden race, mile and a 16th in the Los Al Futurity. And then he shipped to Oaklawn Park, caught the mud, Grade 3 Southwest Stakes. He was up on the pace early, and then he faltered, and he ran 11th and last there. Maybe didn't like the wet track. Getting back to Southern California, he should like this track much better. This is his maiden winning track, and he should be all over the pace. Tessuto is next for trainer George Papapadromo. This one's a $280,000 son of Munnings. 3 starts with a win in 2/3, and they were all at Santa Anita. And I like the distance progression. 6 furlong debut. He was a solid third, stalking the pace. 6.5 furlong second time out. He was third, beaten 12 lengths. Maymoon ran away with that one, and McVeigh was clearly second best, but Tessuto did ended up finishing third there in that 8-horse field. Then he stretched out to 1 mile last time, and his best race yet. He relaxed nicely, stalking the pace, and he kicked away, and he won by more than 2 lengths. A good maiden win there. It's a good sign that he's, like I say, he's got that nice distance progression and that he is improving as he is going longer. I think he can work out a good stalking trip here. He'll probably be a decent price. McVeigh is still a maiden for trainer John Sheriffs. They paid $1.25 million for this son of Constitution. 4 starts with a second and a third. His career debut, he ran into Wind Me Up there. He was 7th, beaten 12 lengths. Second time out at 6.5 furlongs, ended up finishing second. He was beaten 7 lengths by Maymoon, but he was way in front of Tessuto that day. And then in his last 2 starts, the Grade 3 Robert Lewis Stakes, 4th, beaten 12. The Grade 2 San Felipe, he was third. No real threat in that 4-horse field. So now McVeigh is going to try Stakes Company again as a maiden, and he'll be stalking the pace, and he's got a couple bullet workouts for this race. EJ Won the Cup rounds out the field. He's got the outside post for trainer Doug O'Neill, and this is a son of Omaha Beach with Mike Smith aboard. And Mike Smith was aboard for the maiden optional claiming victory on February 23rd. He wired the field, and then last time, Turf Paradise Derby. He went all the way there and won by more than 3 lengths. So back-to-back 2-turn wins. All his earlier starts, his first 6 starts, were all in sprint races, and a couple of them were on turf. So then when they got him back on the main track and around 2 turns, he's been much better. This is a tough spot. From the outside post, look for him to be all over the pace, maybe trying to clear off and try to wire the field. So we have some speed in here. EJ Won the Cup, should be all over that pace. Wynstock, I mentioned that one for Bob Baffert. Imagination should be up there as well. Stronghold tracking the pace. Tapalo, another one that has early pressing speed. So the pace should be honest in here. And now I'll give out my top 4, going from 4th all the way up to 1st. My 4th choice is Tapalo in this race. I thought that his last 4 starts he ran well. He was in the top 3 in all 4 of those. I thought he ran well when he stepped up from his maiden win and then stretching it back out in distance to a stakes race, finishing second behind next out stakes winner Endlessly. So that was a decent effort. I like his tactical speed, inner post. I think he can be competitive in this spot for John Sadler and Umberto Rispoli. My 3rd choice in here, I'm going to go for Tessuto as my 3rd choice. This one, as I said, he's only run 3 times. He has a nice distance progression from 6 to 6.5 to a mile and an 1/8. And I think in this race, he'll set a decent tactical trip. Should offer value. Good horse to use in the exotics. Now for my top 2, number 4, Imagination. This one will be my 2nd choice in here. Has never finished out of the exacta. They paid a lot of money for this one. He seems to be heading in the right direction for Bob Baffert. A nice effort that in his stakes debut last time in that San Felipe, getting the job done. And I just think Frankie Dettori is going to want to try to get into a nice, smooth, early pressing rhythm with this horse and try to wear him down in the stretch from just off the pace. Now, speaking of just off the pace, my top choice should be coming from that position, and that's the 3 Stronghold. I always like this one. Been on my Derby list for quite some time. Always finishes in the top 2. Back-to-back stakes placings in the Bob Hope and the Los Al Futurity, followed by a victory in the Sunland Derby. I want him to work out that kind of trip in here. He just tracks the pace and just tries to wear down the front runners in there. He did. He won by 2.5 last time, and hopefully he can get the job done here and qualify for the 2024 Kentucky Derby. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. And if you go over to my personal website, therunawayhorse.com, later this spring, you'll be able to find my annual Triple Crown full cards from Churchill Pimlico and Saratoga is where the Belmont's going to be this year. So go over to the runawayhorse.com on my sales page to find out more details about my upcoming Triple Crown Series full cards. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.